Hope everybody doing well on this Saturday night. Y'all come on in, man. Drop some comments in the chat when y'all coming in. We want to talk about harvest time. I want to talk about harvest time today and just everything that deals with the harvest because a lot of people, a lot of times, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, but a lot of times we fail to realize everything that the harvest entails. Like we put a lot of thought into what we want to plant. We put a lot of thought into the work that needs to be done. We put a lot of effort in. But when the harvest comes, there's things that we don't realize that we need to do. You know what I'm saying? How to prepare, how to store it, how to save it, the work that goes into harvesting. Like we're gonna talk about it. But y'all come on in. Y'all drop a comment in the chat. I'm gonna try to do at least 30 minutes today. It just depends on the engagement. If y'all coming in, y'all hit that like button and y'all leave a comment in the chat. Let me know where you tuning in from. Let me know where you tuning in from. And I felt like this topic is timely because right now we're in the fall season, and generally in the fall season is when you typically reap a lot of the harvest. This is typically harvest time. So I feel like this is a timely message. It's fitting. But yeah, as y'all coming in, drop a comment in the chat. Let's talk about the harvest. Let's talk about the harvest. Because the first thing is this, right? When you're talking about, and this can go for gardening, this can go for anything. Like I said, these just are general principles, right? So the harvest in your life could be something that you've been putting in work in for, whether it's, a business, a project, whatever you're doing. You see what I'm saying? It could be whatever you're doing. And you're expecting to reap a harvest off of that. A lot of times we put a lot of thought into, the beginning as far as this is what I want, as far as this is what I want back. So I'm going to put in this work. This is what I'm planning for. I'm planting these seeds. This is how many I'm planting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to go and till the ground. I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to do all of that. But when it comes to the harvest time, you don't realize that the harvest time is a lot of work itself. If y'all coming in, man, please hit that like button. The harvest time is work itself. There's a lot of work that goes into harvesting and reaping whatever you sowed into the ground. There's a lot. So let's say you planted an acre of corn. You got to harvest all that. And just imagine you don't got heavy machinery. If y'all coming in, please hit that like button. Drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let's say you planted an acre of corn, you know what I mean? And you went out, you tilled everything, and you kind of did things manually. Tiba, what's going on? I'm not understanding that language. That's Arabic. What's going on? Okay, well, hey, I appreciate the comments. So I know you let me 82. Okay. But you plant an acre of corn. Let's say you don't have a lot of heavy machinery. You ain't got no big tractors. You ain't got no tools that help you harvest and things like that. So when you are about to reap this harvest, you gotta go and get all of that. You see what I'm saying? You gotta go and harvest all of that. Not only do you have to harvest that and deal with the work that goes into the harvest, but you also have to store that harvest. You have to store it. You have to prepare. So generally and I'm using corn for an example, but you can use anything, but let's just say with corn, for example, a lot of times you're going to want to prepare that corn in different ways. You don't want to just leave it on the cob. So, okay, that means you might have to start shelling some corn. So, but that's all work. It's all work. So all I'm saying is a lot of times we ask for things and we don't realize the work that comes with it and the responsibility that comes with it, because it's not just enough to say, man, I'm tired, man. I done harvested all that, man. There's still more stuff to be harvested out there. I don't feel like doing it. What you gonna do? You just gonna let it sit? You gonna let it rot? You gonna let it just stay? So it's like, but you gotta think about that. You gotta think about, okay, man, yes, it's harvest time. I'm gonna get that abundance of things that I want. Because when you put one seed in the ground, you generally get back, a plant that gives you back tenfold, or a harvest that gets you back at least tenfold, 5-10-fold. So you're getting back more than you put in. And a lot of times we pray for that abundance and we hope for that abundance and wish for that abundance, so that way we may reap what we sow in a good way. But What are you doing? Why is saying message restricted? But what are you yeah, like what are you doing to prepare for that mentally? If y'all coming in, please drop a comment in the chat, man. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. And let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if I'm making sense. You know, I always gotta ask that. Also, please hit that like button too. But I'm just trying to prepare you for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to prepare you for that mentally because especially with homesteading, you got a lot of people that say, man, you know, I want X, Y, and Z, man. I want my flocks and my herds to be plentiful. I want my garden to grow lush. I want my fruit trees to produce a lot of fruit. I want X, Y, and Z. I want eggs. I want, you know, egg laying hens. I want this. I want that. But ask yourself, are you ready for the work that comes with all that harvest that you want to reap? Because a lot of times we just put the work in on the front end and just think, oh man, okay, it's smooth sailing now. I'm just gonna wait for everything to grow in and do this. But it's like, but when that stuff grow in, no, you gotta go put your hand to the plow. That's when the real work starts. And then not only that, you have to once you reap the harvest, like I said, you got to prepare the harvest. You got to prepare it in ways that you want. So if you done grew an acre of corn, now you got to shell all that corn. You know, you want to make grits out of some of it. You want to leave some of it whole, leave cobs, and you want to do X, Y, and Z. So, but you got to prepare all of that in those different ways. You have to prepare all that. So that's taking time. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for, you know, the weather ain't really that hot, but you know, it's kind of getting a little chilly, but you got to be out there. You see what I'm saying? Or it still might be hot. It still might be humid, depending on the place you live at. You know what I mean? But are you prepared for the harvest that you're asking for in your life? For the abundance that do you have? So okay, this is the thing, right? You asking God for rain. You asking the Most High for rain. But do you have buckets to collect that rainwater when the outpouring comes? Do you have your buckets ready? Do you have your containers ready? Do you have your jugs ready? Do you have your gallon totes ready? Do you have all of this stuff ready for when the water comes, for when the rain does come? Do you have those things? Do you have the systems to be able to collect this water and to be able to harvest this water that you've been asking for? You see what I'm saying? Like, ask yourself that in anything, whether it's your business, whether it's your farm, whatever. Ask yourself, you've been asking for this harvest. You've been asking for this abundance. You've been asking God, you know, I'm ready now, I'm ready. But do you truly have everything ready? So you saying, okay, I want my content to blow up, or I want my business to blow up. Okay, do you have systems in place for when 1,000 people are you know, inquiring about your services all of a sudden, just because, you know, you might have had something that go viral. Now you have people interested, and you got people coming by the hundreds and maybe even the thousands that are saying, hey, I want to work with you. I want to inquire about your service. I want to do X, Y, and Z. Do you have the capacity? Do you have the capacity to take advantage of that harvest that you've been asking for? You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of time when it rains, it pours. That's a true saying. When it rains, it pours. And so, you know, you might have just expected a light little drizzle, or, you know, a little trickle, a steady trickle. But no, God, the Most High, he just done opened it up for you now. It's an outpouring. It's a lot to handle. And so that's why I'm asking, are you prepared? Are you prepared for when the harvest will come? Let me know if I'm making sense, y'all, man. Y'all talk to me. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself. Y'all talk to me in the chat. Hit that like button too if you ain't hit that like button. I know we kind of, I know I started kind of late tonight, but I am a Sabbath observer. KJ Real Estate. What's going on, KJ Real Estate? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. But yeah, so, okay, now that I know, you know, everything. Y'all please hit that like button. Please, please, please. I appreciate it. But no, this is the thing, like, because a lot of times, man, the harvest can mess you up. What you've been praying for and asking for, and if God give it to you prematurely and you can't handle it, it'll mess you up. You see what I'm saying? Because you praying for all of this, but your website ain't even together. You praying for your business to blow up. You praying for your content to blow up. You praying for but your website ain't even together. It ain't even in order. Your systems ain't even in order. You don't even have the capacity to service 100 people, let alone 1,000. So it's like, Are you preparing yourself to be able to service these people? Are you, and that's the same thing with farming and gardening and just, you know, harvesting, you know, from your land. You saying, okay, I want eggs every day. Where are you gonna store those eggs at? How are you gonna utilize those eggs? Because, you know, you done went and got all these chickens. You done got 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 chickens because you like, I want eggs. I just love chickens and this, that, and the third. But now you getting, you know, 80 to 100 eggs a day. How are you gonna store those eggs? Are you gonna let those eggs just go bad? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, are you prepared to store the harvest? Is your storehouse ready? You see what I'm saying? Like, let's just be honest. Is your storehouse ready? You saying, you know, I want my garden to flourish, this, that, and the third. Do you know how to can? Do you know how to preserve food? Because, what is that? Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. My bad, y'all. I'm so sorry about that, y'all. My bad. Something happened, man. I be having to check on my dogs. I heard something fall, so I had to go out and check on them. But they good. But yeah, like I was saying though, like you saying that you want this harvest. Do you know how to preserve this food? Because see, a lot of times what people don't realize is when you growing food and when you planting things and you expecting a harvest, that harvest is for you. It's to last you. It's for that thing to it's to feed you for an extended period of time when things aren't growing. So, you know, you prepare in the spring, you know, you plant in the spring, you maintain, and you still kind of plant in the summertime. You harvest in the fall time because in the wintertime you can't grow nothing. So the harvest from the fall is meant to take you through the winter. It's meant to take you through the time period where nothing is growing, the grass is dead, it's withered away, the plants ain't growing, nothing is really growing like that. It's dark, cold, all of that type of stuff. So the harvest is meant to get you through that period of time. So are you prepared for when you get the harvest? You know what I mean? In order to, are you prepared to be able to preserve that and allow it to, you know what I'm saying, sustain you over a period of time? Do you have storage? Like a lot of times, and you know, and people do that today, but it was common back then for people to build root cellars, what you call root cellars. That's like, it's kind of like you dig a little area in the ground where, you know, it's kind of cool under there. And that's where you store your food. So your vegetables, your produce, everything that you've grown, you would store it in this root cellar. You see what I'm saying? And nowadays people just, you know, people have different, you know, options. They have walk-in refrigerators, they have cold rooms, you know what I'm saying? They have different types of things to where they store the harvest. You know, and then they, you know, people do all that type of stuff. But my thing is, do you have any of that set up? Before you just go out here and start saying, well, you know, I want to grow X, Y, and Z. I want to do X, Y, and Z. Are you prepared to handle everything that comes with that? Do you have, you know, vacuum sealing to the point to where you can vacuum seal things, freeze drying things? You can freeze dry things. You can sun dry things. You can, you know, cure things. You can have a smokehouse. So it's like, but you got to have that type of stuff before you go out and you start just planting things and really just asking for an abundance. And this is every area of life. I'm just kind of using farming and homesteading because that's typically not only are homesteaders and farmers reaping harvest, but people are also reaping harvest. And, you know, in the spiritual realm, you know, in places like, you know, businesses and different things like that, that people have been preparing for, and they're asking for an increase and they're waiting on a harvest. But if you are immature and you don't you don't have the right mindset around the harvest and understand that, hey, that's when the work starts, truly. Like you think the work was, oh man, I was out here slaving in the sun. I was, tilling. I was out here doing this, X, Y, and Z. No, the real work starts when it's time to reap that thing that you put into the ground because you're going to get back way more than you put in. So here's where the work really starts at. This is the time period for the work. You thinking, man, I done recorded all these videos, you know what I'm saying? I done did X, Y, and Z, put all this thought into it, posted it, all of that type of stuff, put all this work in. Yeah, but now the videos are blowing up. Now your content is reaching masses of people. Now people demand more of you. People want to see more of you. People want to learn more from you. So are you prepared to you know what I'm saying, be that influencer that you need to be? Because that's what you were hoping for and wishing for. That's what you was praying for. You was praying to go viral. You was praying that your content reaches all these different masses of people. You were praying for that. That was the harvest that you wanted. But now that it's finally happening, now that you finally starting to get, to where you want it to be, here's where the work truly comes, because now more people are going to be demanding more out of you. More people are going to want to be seeing more of you. More people are going to want to be learning more from you. They're going to want more from you. This is where the responsibility comes in. This is where the true work comes in. Are you capable of that right now? Are you capable of that? Because a wise man will count the cost before he starts. Before he start building, he gonna count the cost of everything. So you saying you want to be a major content creator. Okay, so what does that entail? That entails just, of course, putting in the work, being creative and all of that type of stuff. But it also entails, ensuring that your branding is on point. It also entails, just moving with wisdom and things that you address and talk about, and how you react with people, and you know what I'm saying, like it takes a lot. And then also it's going to take a lot of long hours, late nights and stuff, because you want to be able to deliver to the people that you are wanting to influence, because you don't want to lose that. You don't want to get the influence to lose it. You want to get the influence to keep it. But the influence takes a lot of responsibility. But a wise man counts the cost before he starts the building. The wise man counts the cost. So okay, yes, it's going to take this work, but when I finally get to the point to where I want to be, it's going to take even more out of me. It's going to take even more to maintain and sustain that. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't just get 1 million followers and just, oh man, I'm going to just cruise from here. You don't just, blow up and become an internet sensation. It's just, oh, well, they love me. No, you have to maintain that influence over people. You have to and I'm just using this for an example, y'all. But it makes sense, because a lot of times, especially a lot of young adults, a lot of young people coming up, they want to be content creators because all they're seeing is the money and the influence and the notoriety. But they're not understanding, okay, as your money grows, you have to be smart. You're going to have to hire certain people to ensure that your affairs are always in order. Like I said, you're going to have to be able to steward over that harvest that you're expecting. Let me know if I'm making sense, y'all. Let me know. KJ Real Estate, are you still on? Let me know if I'm making sense. Please hit that like button too if you just coming on. We just talking about harvest time right now. My last job that I just left, they bought me this cup. It says Chaos Coordinator, because they this is how they viewed me, because I would, like, a lot of times people get worked up over problems and stuff, especially on the job and stuff like that. People get worked up over problems. And I hate that. Me personally, I hate that. So when problems arise, I don't respond emotionally. So I'm able to work through the chaos and able to have a level head. So they gave me this cup. But let me know if I'm making sense as far as what I'm talking about with the harvest, because it is a lot of responsibility. It is truly a lot of responsibility when it's harvest time. That's when the work really starts. That's when it, you really see, okay, man, yeah, I know the summertime was harsh, the springtime, what I'm saying, there was a lot of work being put in, but man, I got everything I prayed for, but man, to manage it is a lot. To manage it is a lot. You have to steward over a harvest. You have to steward over that thing, man. Like, let's, you know, and see, this is the thing, right? You got a lot of people who, you know, have money problems, right? And they wish they could hit the lottery. Like, man, if I could just hit the lottery for a few million, I'd be all right. But that's not true. Because if you look up lottery winners, they typically go broke. Why is that? Because they're not good stewards over the harvest. Why are they not good stewards over the harvest? Because they didn't need, you know, if you win the lottery, you ain't put in no seeds to even reap that much money back. So it's like when you get it, you don't appreciate it. But a lot of times people feel like that, like, man, if I just, but it's like, no, if you just start being a good steward over what you have now, then it'll grow. And as it grows, you'll appreciate it much more. So you'll put more effort into making it grow instead of making it diminish. And that's how you truly build wealth. That's how you truly, you know what I'm saying, get the overflow and abundance that you really want. It's by maintaining and stewarding over what you have right now. So it's important, man, to understand harvest time. It's a lot of work. So pace yourself. Pace yourself. Don't just get all excited and, excuse me, and start planting this, and you know, you putting all this into the ground. You putting all, you know what I'm saying, you planting all of these seeds, not realizing like each one of these seeds gonna have a return on it. Am I gonna be able to steward over that return, and you know, am I gonna be able to preserve that? Am I gonna be able to, you know, maintain that and prepare that? And now ask yourself all that. And if, you know what I'm saying, you don't have what is necessary to maintain that abundance and overflow that you have romanticized in your mind, and maybe take a step back and say, okay, let me just plant a little bit for right now so I can kind of get used to it. Because if you ain't never, you know, planted corn before, you know, why would you go out and plant an acre, 2 acres, 10 acres of corn? Especially if you don't know, okay, yeah, that's my wife on there. Yeah, especially if you don't know what everything is like, what all it entails when it's time to harvest that corn. You don't got nothing to shell corn. You don't got nothing to store the corn. You ain't got no plan for the corn. You just grew the corn. You see what I'm saying? You just grew this grain, and you ain't really even got no plan for it, nowhere to store it, nothing to. So it's just like the deer gonna be eating it. You see what I'm saying? Now the deer is benefiting from the harvest that you got, that you supposed to be stewarding over. The deers are eating it. The animals are eating it. You see what I'm saying? And it's the same thing in life in general. When you bite off more than you could chew, and let's say you get the abundance and you get the harvest that you was asking for, it's just gonna go in other people's pockets. Let's just say you get lucky and you know, come up on $1 million lottery ticket or whatever. All you're gonna do, the first thing you're gonna do is go and spend. That's the first thing you're gonna do. So everybody else is gonna eat off that harvest that you just got and you just prayed for. And it's gonna go in everybody else's pocket but yours. Because why? Because you didn't count the cost of everything. You weren't wise, you know what I'm saying, and how you went about it. You didn't understand, like, okay, the harvest, it's not time to just kick back and relax. No, it's time to actually put in work and plan this thing out. Like, okay, so we got X, Y, and Z, we just harvested. Okay, so we're gonna can some of those, we're gonna freeze dry some of these, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and so this gonna take us through the winter. Okay, we got all these tomatoes we just grew, so we're gonna stew some of these tomatoes down, make pasta sauce, we're gonna make ketchup with it, we're gonna do some sun-dried tomatoes, we're gonna do some freeze-dried tomatoes, and then we just gonna keep some tomatoes whole and put them in the root cellar, or put them in the refrigerator, or whatever the case may be, or, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you make a plan for everything, and you give everything a place to go and something to do, a purpose. You give everything a purpose. That is how you become a wise steward over the harvest. You give the harvest a purpose. You give it a place to go. Let me know if I'm making sense. And when you give it a place to go, you know what I'm saying? It's going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to take you through the winter, and maybe even the spring, and maybe even the summer, if you're smart. If you're smart. Also, please, y'all go check out my last video that we just uploaded today. It's called the top 11 cities for Black Americans who want to buy farmland. You know, it was a list that I, you know, did a lot of research and, you know, kind of got the list of the top 5 cities or areas rather where, you know, Black people want to look for land that are Black friendly, Black farmer friendly. So y'all go check that out, please. But yeah, That's all I wanted to chop it up with y'all about, man. Just get your mentality right regarding the harvest. Don't think, oh, all these blessings just gonna rain down on me and this, that, and the third. No, that rain needs somewhere to go. That rain needs to be collected. You know, so you need to have your buckets ready. You need to have your stuff ready. You need to have your filtration systems in place. So that way, now the overflow and all this abundance of rain that came in, now this rainwater, you harvest it, it's gonna last you for months, maybe even years if you're smart. If you're smart, it's gonna last you months and years. Because why? Because you became a good steward. Because you stewarded and you made sure your buckets were ready, you made sure you were prepared, and you made sure that the harvest had a purpose to serve and a place to go. And so that's the same thing with everything. When you get an outpouring of money, when you like let's just say you've been praying for a way to get ahead, like, God, just please allow me to get ahead financially, because I'm falling behind X, Y, and Z. And let's say he give you a blessing and, you know what I'm saying, he sends you more than what you need to get ahead. When he sends you more than what you need to get ahead, guess what? Get ahead, but the extra that you have, don't go out and spend it. Don't go out and put it in somebody else's pocket. Use it to either make you more money or put it up. Like you don't, like a lot of times, because I know a lot of people like, oh, it ain't enough to just save money. You need to go ahead and put it in a higher interest account. And that's fine. I agree with that. But at the very least, still save it. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't go wrong with, because it's just sitting there. It's not going anywhere. It's not being depleted. So at the very least, just save it. And if you want to go a step further and continue to stay ahead, then put it in something that is going to yield you back a return. Make an investment with it. Put it in a high yield savings account. Put it in a certificate of deposit, a CD or something like that. Buy some gold with it. Buy some, precious metals that are only going to appreciate in value. But do something that allows you to stay ahead and stay ahead of the game and not fall back anymore. So when God finally sends you that rain that you wanted, make sure that you're not just letting it just trickle out and go into the ground. No, make sure that it's staying in the buckets that you have already prepared. When he sends you a financial blessing that you've been asking for to get ahead, make sure that you get ahead. But like I said, make sure you're saving something and putting something away for another rainy day, because you never know when another rainy day is going to come. But again, you have to be a wise steward of the harvest that you're asking for. If not, then you know what I'm saying? The harvest is going to be fewer and further in between. And everybody else going to eat off your harvest but you. You done planted all this stuff and everything else eating it, tearing it up, eating good. All these animals, all this stuff is eating it. And you ain't eating nothing. Why? Because it's too much work for you. You planted too much. You did too much. You didn't pace yourself. You didn't count the cost first. And now everything is eating what you and your family supposed to be eating, what you're supposed to be putting in your storehouse. Okay, and I'm gonna end it with this, right? For those of you who are not biblical savvy or Bible savvy, right? In the book of Genesis, right? Joseph, who was, the son of Jacob, they sold him into slavery, right? Into Egypt. And, he got up real high in Egypt and everything. He started off, in prison and stuff like that. And I'm just, I'm going through this fast, but I'm summarizing, but anywho, he was able to interpret the dream that Pharaoh had. And Pharaoh had a dream, he saw basically, these fat cows and stuff like that, but they got devoured by these skinny, sickly looking cows and stuff like that. And so Joseph was able to interpret the dream, and what he was saying was there's a famine coming. But he said before the famine, there's going to be 7 years of abundance. And then after that 7 years of abundance, there's going to be 7 years of famine. So what he said is during the 7 years of abundance, we need to, basically make sure that the storehouse is being filled up, make sure that we're taking advantage, make sure that we're getting this harvest and we're putting it up and we're storing it properly and we're preserving it so it can take us through these 7 years of famine. Right. And so that's exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? And because he was able to interpret that dream and get that wise counsel, he was promoted to basically second in command over Egypt. And so that's the thing that I want to tell you. Right. When you start getting the harvest, make sure your storehouse is up, and make sure you're putting it in your storehouse and storing it in your storehouse and preserving it. And make sure your storehouse is functional, because you never know when a famine is going to come. You never know when a hard time is going to come. You never know when a rainy day is going to come. But if your storehouse is full and you've been a good steward over the harvest that you've received, then you can pull from that storehouse in the times where the earth is not producing, in the times where the things are not producing that you were used to being, used to getting that produce from, used to getting that harvest from. If that is not giving you any type of harvest or any type of produce, at least you have your storehouse. But if your storehouse is empty, if your storehouse is not functional, you know what I'm saying, it's compromised. Now you got things coming in, eating up the store, and you got, it's rusting and all that type of stuff. It's spoiling. Your storehouse is not functional. The harvest that you put in that storehouse, it's not going to be good in the time where the famine is here. So make sure you're storing up, and make sure you're having a good mindset as far as, okay, it's harvest season. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of time. But I'm willing to do it because this is what's going to carry me through the times where we're not going to get nothing from the ground, where the earth is not going to produce nothing. So let me be smart about this. Let me make a plan about this. Let me pace myself, and let me make sure, you know what I'm saying, we're doing everything we can to take advantage of this harvest and steward over this harvest. And you can apply that to any situation in your life. But let me know if that made sense, y'all. We at 31 minutes. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, please hit that like button. Also, man, if it's not too much to ask, if you are a fan of the channel, please go and choose your 3 favorite videos and hype them up for me. I like that YouTube has added the hype feature because it allows smaller content creators to kind of get their name out there, to get their videos out there. So, if you can go, especially if you can go hype that last video I did, because that one is doing pretty well, I would greatly appreciate it. But, at the very minimum, if you can hype 3 of your favorite videos of mine, I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, super chat. Super chat, appreciate it. That's my wife sent that super chat. Appreciate it, babe. Oh, yeah, and I want to say, for everybody that's ever donated to the channel, to the cause, super chats, cash outs, I really appreciate it. It is greatly appreciated, greatly needed for sure. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to hit that cash out, by all means. If you want to hit that super chat, by all means. But I ain't the type of person to sit here and be like, oh, make sure y'all tapping this, tapping. Man, if it's on your heart, I appreciate it, and I will definitely be thankful for it. But I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna let y'all, go enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday night. And I'll see y'all tomorrow with another live video. Let me know if y'all wanna let me know what topics y'all wanna talk about. Let me know what y'all want to talk about, and we'll talk about it. But I wanted to bring that up about the harvest because A, it's a timely message because we're in the season of harvest, and B, you want to have your mindset right in regard to the harvest. You don't want to just think, oh, receive without work, because it's gonna take work when you're receiving a lot. You know what I'm saying? With dang, what's the? I ain't even gonna butcher that quote, but you know what I'm saying. When you have a lot, you have a lot of responsibility. When you get a lot, as far as blessings, abundance, it's a big responsibility. So I don't think you're not gonna be responsible. You're not gonna have to work. You're gonna have to put in some work. Stacy Wright say, have a blessed night and a blessed day, cutie. I ain't gonna respond to that. My wife on here, and she can see that. And well, not to but yeah, I'm married, so to whom much is given, much is required. Absolutely. But yeah. Stacy, we appreciate you. He's very cute. Yeah, see, I didn't know how to respond to that, man. I didn't know how to respond to that, but I appreciate you, babe. But yeah, y'all have a good one. If you're catching this replay, man, drop a comment in the chat what y'all want to talk about. Let me know if this message blessed y'all, and share it with somebody you feel like it'll bless. But I'll see y'all on the next one.